Hey folks, this is Sam. Just continuing on with this small practice piece we're working on. Got some other tools here that we haven't used so far. Got my diagonal cutters, my tin snips, got a couple more hammers, got my pencil. Make some marks to cut on this piece to even out all the silliness we've done so far. So we got these pieces overlapping, and that's a little less than ideal. The first step I'm going to do is try to get these roughly hammered down flat, and then I can make some marks for cutting. I'm just going to use my little stake here, nice and handy, right there on my stump. I use this hammer that has more or less flat face for this stage, and I'm going to try to position the piece more or less right up and down, right over where I want to work. Now just by lightly striking here, you can see I'm starting to close this curve, this extra space here down. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it all the way down, but I can certainly make it conform a little tighter, which is going to give me a little more accurate line to cut on here. Not to mention, on the finished piece, we're going to want all these edges hammered down nice after we rivet, so that things tend to line up a little better. That's a much closer, much smaller gap than we had before. I can easily pinch it with my fingers to close the rest of the space. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to pinch, mark a line, and pinch, mark a line. Now each one of those lines I'm just going to snip off. It's important to note that, as you can see the line clearly here, hopefully on the video, it's about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch away from where the actual edge of the metal is. So I'm going to cut on the inside of that line as opposed to the outside to take off just a touch extra. Just a little nip there. Little nip there. Once I've riveted this piece in place, I will go ahead and file these edges down. I'll get rid of those points, and I'll get rid of any little loose overhang that I have. But for now, that's fairly much in the direction I wanted it to be. Now you notice we have kind of a funny shape going on, where we've got much more of a taper on this end, but we've still got this flat area out on that side. And I think that's okay, because what we're going to do, when this is riveted, this would be theoretically on the inside towards the body. And this would be the outer wing on the outer arm if it were 2 or 3 times the size. I'm going to go in now and redish a little more to kind of finesse this shape. I would like this edge to come up a little more at this point. Now obviously as I worked we moved the metal around some and changed the shape, and that's okay. I'm just going to squeeze this piece back into roughly where it was before, and you can see we're starting to get some deformity here on the edge, so I'm going to go ahead and smooth that out. Again, I'm just going to use this stake this time. Previously we used the divot over here on this kind of shape here. I want to keep this from getting that dished exterior, so I'm going to use this flatter hammer over this little stake and just massage a little bit in this area. I can even flip it over and use the radius here if I want to dink a part in a different direction here. If I feel like a certain part is too low, too high. Now, one interesting thing, if you look at your piece at this point, or if you look at my piece here, since I didn't measure carefully and make a constant radius, I just did it by hand, we've got some variation here and here. We've got slight raises. It's important to note that for a practice piece like this, that's just fine. But when you go to attempt to roll an edge or flare an edge, that inconsistency will only get worse and worse as you get farther into the process. So while this small edge is noticeable to the naked eye, but under casual inspection you wouldn't notice, if we were to roll this edge, and hopefully we will in the next couple of videos, when we go to roll this edge, these mistakes will show more, and it will be an inconsistency in the roll. So right now, where it may pass as a casual glance, if this whole piece was polished, that edge would look okay. But at the same casual glance, if this was a nicely rolled edge and the rest of it looked nice and it looked crappy here, you would see the reflection, and so you would have inconsistency and ultimately poorer results. So it is important when you're making an actual piece to measure carefully, pattern carefully, be precise on your early markings, because it's only going to pay benefits later on down the road under final appearance. At this point I'm going to go drill holes here and here, and we're going to go ahead and do a rivet, and that'll be for our next video. And I'm going to leave off here, drill those holes, and I'll be back with you guys shortly.